Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 296.
296.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by NYE Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. Free dining at Walt Disney World was just released for the summer time period. It's a little earlier than normal, probably because of Star Wars Land opening up later this year. Check out NYE Travel and Mouse Fan Travel for that offer. And also, I believe there's a room-only offer as well. That goes from spring into summer. So head to MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel and fill out that online quote. It is a no obligation.
And also on this show, we'll be talking about Disneyland Paris, and they can absolutely help you with your Disneyland Paris vacation.
And before we talk about Disneyland Paris, we're going to talk about Mickey's Backyard BBQ. We did this on New Year's Eve. This is what we chose to do that night. And that's it. They're done.
It was the very last performance. I'm so glad we went. You might recognize this back from the old days of River Country. This is where you would buy your tickets back then when you went to the first Disney water park.
And there's going to be DVC being built here. And I believe we're still about 3 years away from when it will open. There's always a chance that the Mickey's Backyard BBQ will come back at some other area in the campground. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. This has been running for at least like 20 years. It's a really long-running show, not nearly as long-running as Hoop-De-Doo, which is like 40 years. But we actually had a really good time. This is our second time together, and I went once in the 90s.
And look at the food. You have ribs, you have chicken, corn on the cob. It really kind of reminds me of Hoop-De-Doo food in a way. You have cornbread. Now, here's the little difference. The brisket and the burgers, and there's hot dogs there, too. You're not getting that at Hoop-De-Doo.
Well, I think of it more like Trail's End than Hoop-De-Doo, but they're all really kind of connected as far as the different food items like chicken and ribs and so it really is kind of very similar from place to place.
And it was all inclusive as well. You could see it. And actually, we're kind of showing some of these little tributes. There's the Bay Lake Bottling Company and Wilderness Ice House. And here we have the Elias and Sons. That Elias, of course, is Walt Disney's father was named Elias. So you have nice little tributes there. And here's a look at, I think that's your plate.
I did. I just had like half of a bun. So you can see my burger. I only had one plate, and then I tried dessert, and there was sangria and beer. And
you really like the sangria that they have.
I do. About 4 or 5 years ago, the different places, the different dinner shows upgraded their beer, like because you have Yingling.
Right.
And then also the sangria is better than what they used to have.
So anyway, here is a look at the show. The show is just starting. Again, this is the very last ever performance. And here comes the Big Cheese, Mickey, and he's in his regular outfit, his cowboy outfit.
But don't forget Cyclone Sally and Tumbleweed Will.
I will not forget them.
And I think that they have been there a very long time as well. And we're going to see also Cowboy Trevor, who I guess has been there like 18 or something years, a long time.
So here comes the other characters. You have Mickey, of course, coming out first. And it's a very interactive show. Especially with the kids, they get to spend a lot of time with the characters, dancing and having a good time. But adults also. And I think Mickey is looking. And here comes Minnie and Chip and Dale. And I think Goofy's going to be also joining him.
And, this was considered a dinner show, but I didn't really think of it as much of a dinner show like the Polynesian or Hoop-De-Doo. I mean, this was a more interactive type of an event to me.
Oh, yeah, you're definitely part of the show here. I mean, it's very hard to just sit and watch because they will come around, and certainly you're going to want to get up and meet them at some point anyway. And you're up and about because you're going to the buffet, you're getting dessert, you're getting drinks. So it's really, there's movement, you're not just sitting in one spot.
Right, you're not being served. It's a very different experience than Hoop-De-Doo, Hoop-De-Doo is my favorite dinner show. I haven't done the Polynesian Spirit of Aloha in almost 20 years at this point.
I think it's time we do that.
Probably at some point, but I'd like to get back to Hoop-De-Doo. It's been like 4 years since we did that.
Mickey bars, look at those Mickey bars, all you can eat.
Well, they had a number of them. They didn't have the sandwiches in there at the time, but they brought those, and that's my favorite item. And here's Cowboy Trevor. He actually has a website, so I went and looked on it. He's done a lot. So if you look up Cowboy Trevor, you'll find him online. He does like the Victory Cruises even, but he's done quite a bit of other events.
Even in Orlando, yeah. I guess he was at a few other local, what do you call them, dinner shows that don't exist anymore.
Right. So, but he's been here since like 2001. So he was here 2001 to 2018.
And neither of us, with all the advances of the internet, could find the exact opening year of the Backyard BBQ. I still don't know what year it
I
opened.
have no idea. Like, you would think somewhere it would say it, and I looked everywhere that I could. I went in like 1999 the first time, so it was open around then. So it's been here at least about 20 years. I guess it opened at the end of the River Country era.
And here we have some characters. Now, during the performances, the music on stage, you're able to come out and meet the various characters. And you can see on stage the characters will also come out. And this is just for the kids only. You'll notice on the dance floor, and they are having a great time.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really fun. The first time I went in 1999, I was a little disappointed. I thought it would be more than it was. But then the next time we went, it was Halloween.
Oh, boy, I'll never forget that.
And that was a really great experience because they were all dressed up in special outfits and not like here. Like we thought maybe for New Year's Eve that they would have special outfits, but they didn't.
I'm kind of glad, though,
normal.
they had their classic outfits. You want them to end the run the way the run is usually done, And here comes Goofy. Now, we're actually sitting at our table, and you have a conga line of some sorts. And here comes Mickey leading a whole group of his biggest fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very interactive, the whole experience. I guess this pavilion, I'm assuming, will go away with the new DVC. Like, I don't even know if they'll have the pavilion.
One of the cast members that was working there, I got to talking to him while we were waiting to go in, and he said that everything behind, this whole area here, the pavilion and the stables, everything going towards where the new DVC, where River Country used to be, all that is going to be under heavy construction. So, who knows what's going to happen down the road. But this pavilion actually existed with River Country when River Country used to when there would be thunderstorms or lightning. It would be a shelter that would tell everybody to go underneath the pavilion. And this Backyard BBQ started while River Country was still in operation.
And there's Cowboy Trevor.
He was awesome. He really kind of steals the show in a way.
And so I was going to say, I never really did a lot with River Country because I'm not as much a water park person. I've been coming to Disney's Fort Wilderness really pretty regularly to eat and all that for 20 years or more, probably almost 25 years. But River Country, like, this wouldn't be a part of my history there.
But for me, I grew up with River Country.
Right.
I was and still am a water park, a big water park fan. And back then it was so exciting because you didn't have all these water parks. There was no Wet and Wild when River Country first opened. So when you were going down those water slides or being in a tube going down all the rapids, no one had ever done it. At least I hadn't. So to me, it was great. I loved it, River Country.
Yeah, everybody who went that I knew of loved it. That was the This Land Is Your Land segment that we were just looking at, and
Happy Trails.
Yeah, this is the finale. Everybody's sad, and everybody, it really was like the band said they've been here for like 24 years. So I didn't think Mickey's Backyard BBQ had been here quite that long, but they said about 24 years on the band. So the band's been here forever. And when I went and looked like 7 years ago at pictures that I took when we did the Halloween one, it was the same band and Cowboy Trevor. So
isn't that amazing? And it's very emotional. They stayed, gave a little extra time to have people come and meet and greet and take pictures with the band and the Cowboy Trevor, and the characters stayed until every single guest had a chance to meet them, which was great.
And even though I have only been to this show like a few times, because I am such a big fan of Fort Wilderness and Hoop-de-Doo and Trails End and everything that Fort Wilderness is, it really feels like you're part of it, this ending of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. It was sad. Even the characters, you'll see that Mickey and Minnie were even shedding a tear, as you'll see when we met them.
And we actually have seen them in these costumes also at Disney's Pop Century one 4th of July. And it's funny because I didn't even realize that was a costume, and I was looking at a Pop Century article. I'm like, oh, they're wearing their Mickey's Backyard BBQ outfits.
Yeah, I knew I had seen it somewhere, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Probably because the last time we had gone to this, it was Halloween, and they were all dressed, as you had said, in Halloween outfits. And here we have Chip, Dale, and Cowboy Goofy. I love Cowboy Goofy.
Yeah, and there was a lot going on New Year's Eve in the parks, and even at Fort Wilderness, there was the dessert party going on and a beach bash and all kinds of stuff. But the nice thing about Christmas week for us, we never really hit a lot of crowds. I mean, we did Epcot a couple times, not much crowds. We came here and you can see it's not too, this is New Year's Eve, you know?
Well, but this is actually one very last look at the last remnants of river country, and that's why I'm showing this. So, but you're right. I think maybe we just planned it really well, where we did opposite of what the crowds were. I think that may have been partially intentional.
I mean, we didn't go to the Magic Kingdoms or anything like that. So what we did, we went to go see a couple candlelights. We, came here to Mickey's Backyard BBQ. So it didn't really feel like a busy week for us.
I'm so glad we did it one last time at Mickey's Backyard BBQ. So goodbye to that, and hopefully it'll return in a new location someday. Now we're going to keep with the Western theme here. This is Disneyland Paris, and this is where we stayed, which is the Hotel Cheyenne, and we stayed in the Annie Oakley section, which was a really great location.
And I haven't stayed on Disneyland Paris property since 2002 when I stayed at the Sequoia Lodge. You can see the doors are a little beat up and everything. The location, even though I believe that Annie Oakley is a standard location, not like a preferred location, we were right across from the laundromat, ice, and a couple-minute walk from the main area. I mean, it was really a perfect location. And
perfect, yeah.
And we paid less than $100 a night for this just right after Thanksgiving. So this is a room. I didn't think it was too small. I mean, by European standards, I thought it was fine. It's Toy Story themed, as you can see. You have the boot, Woody's boot there, and you have the TV. These are newly renovated rooms in the last year or so. The only thing I have a complaint about.
I know what Denise is going to say. That is the hardest bed ever.
Oh my gosh. I mean, really, if you like a soft bed, that's not it. I mean, it's really bad.
If they had a good bed, wouldn't this be just a perfect place?
It was fine.
If they had a comfortable bed.
I would like a small refrigerator in the room. That would be something else that I would like. But anything else, I was fine with. Room size, shower pressure, everything else about the room was fine. And you can see all the little details here along the wall.
See, I've never seen what the previous incarnation of the rooms looked like. So to me, this is my first ever experience. I think it's great. It reminds me in many ways of some of the newer rooms at Walt Disney World. And that's not a bad thing. I think, to me, I was very impressed by it. It was my very first time ever staying on Disney property at Disneyland Paris.
And if you're going to Disneyland Paris and you need like a self-serve laundry, the nice thing is the Hotel Cheyenne and the Hotel Santa Fe. I don't want to say nice thing. Like, it would be nice if all of the resorts had it.
Right.
But the Cheyenne is one that does. And we were just like a minute away from it.
Less than a minute.
And ice, which if you go to Europe, ice is such a big deal. And we could just go over and
very
get some ice.
Very valuable commodity.
Yes. So it was a really great location for
Isn't it interesting, though, the Disneyland Hotel itself, no laundry.
No, because, I mean, you would have, they do have laundry, but you would have to do, not
You're
self-serve.
You're paying somebody to do it.
Yes.
Right. And I get that.
That's all of the other resorts, so except for the Santa Fe and the Cheyenne.
So we're about to see something that is no longer happening at Walt Disney World, at least for most resorts at Walt Disney World, is you're going to see the individual soaps with the Mickey ears on them. And I miss those. So it's very nice that we had to have those we got to do that one last time here at Disneyland. Maybe they'll stay at Disneyland Paris.
So I don't even know if the Pop Century, we haven't stayed on property in a while here, so I don't know if they all are
I've seen many people posting the new dispensers, and they're permanently mounted, so you don't have your individual soaps like this, which I like. Well,
I like that too. I'm not as big a fan of the H2O, these ones, the value type ones. I like the green, the green one, is it Sea Marine? Maybe Sea Marine, the one I buy. But it's nice also to have the H2O.
There they are.
So,
Those are the classics from years ago. And, sometimes you wouldn't finish it and they would give you a new one. And by the end of the trip, you'd have a nice little collection to take home and sort of remember your trip.
Well, the shampoos, I remember when they first brought in H2O, because the shampoo they used to have was not very good at all, the old just the Disney shampoo. So it was really great when H2O brought in their product.
Oh, and we discovered this little pull-out bed after we did the majority of the video, which is nice. I did test it out. Not at all comfortable.
Not that either?
No.
I didn't try that one.
I even tried this couch here to see if that was a good alternative. And the answer is not a good one.
Oh, it looks more comfortable than the bed. But, I mean, you can't... I'm disappointed in the bedding. That I didn't really understand. But I can't say that I wouldn't stay here again. You just kind of suck it up and say, okay, well, I'm in a good location. It was really nice to be able to walk to Disneyland Paris, like, instead of taking the metro or a bus.
Right.
It was really nice to be able to just walk to Disney Village if we wanted, or
there are big positives and negatives too. I mean, we're spoiled by the Elysee where we normally stay because they are more of a 4-star, maybe even they consider 5-star place, and you have a nice buffet there, very comfortable beds. Everything is tailored towards that. So it's a little different, but as you said, I like the ability to just walk to the park and walk back without taking transportation.
And I wasn't expecting this to be as inexpensive as it was. It cost about the same as staying off property at the Elysee or the Hyde Park. Maybe the Hyde Park was just a little less. So when you can get on property, we could have stayed at the Sequoia for like 120 something a night. Or 120 something, dollars, not euros.
Much cheaper than here at Walt Disney World. So you never know. Next year, especially now that the Disneyland ticket prices have gone up so incredibly high, I think it's more Disneyland Paris for us. Much more cost effective.
Well, we're going to probably go to Disneyland a couple times this year. I do want to go back to Disneyland Paris, and probably for spring we talked about.
Phantom Manor. Got to see Phantom Manor.
Yes, I just want to see Christmas again here so much. I really love the season. But I also love Halloween. The nice thing about Disneyland Paris is they have so many seasons now and so many events.
Pretty much all the time there's something exciting going on.
Like Pirates and Princess right now is so awesome.
We kept wanting to go to the Red Garter Saloon, and we said, oh, we're going to do it. Wouldn't you know, we never made it there.
Well, we went in. I mean, we walked in.
We kept being distracted by all these buffets, like this Chuck Wagon Cafe. And we're going to talk about that very, very soon.
Well, I mean, we went to like 2 buffets in a week, so we didn't go too crazy on that. But this is the theming here. It's Wild West. For some reason, Wild West is very big in Paris, especially at Disneyland Paris, it seems. I mean, you have the resort, you have in the parks, you have just, I don't know what it is about the Wild West.
And you can tell it was still Christmas time. I know it's after Christmas now. There's Mr. Curious Axel in the background. He saw me coming in and taking some video, and we're all having dinner together and with another of our good friends.
And here is the Red Garter Saloon. We did walk into it, although you didn't walk into it just now. The Chuck Wagon I had not been to since 2002 either. So it had been 16 years since I've gone. Every trip I kind of wanted to go, but we just didn't. The reviews have been mixed, but I thought this was one of the best meals that I've had at Disneyland Paris ever.
We'll be going back, absolutely.
It's not Waltz. It's completely the opposite from Waltz, but the food was really good.
It's like Trail's End, but on steroids in a way. I mean, it's just like if Trail's End went nuts because there's so much to choose from here. You were amazed at how many trips that I made. I think you were concerned with how many trips.
You did make a lot of trips. I didn't make as many. Like, I didn't try the walk. There's a walk here. Like, I wouldn't even think that there'd be one.
And this is the room we ate it in, as way in the back. And where we were, it wasn't as crowded as I'm showing, so we are sort of off to the side, but this was the main area in the back room.
Where we were felt very empty.
It was. We were
funny.
very fortunate the whole time. And here is the buffet itself. It is themed, of course, in the Western theme, but you get a little bonus where you get the wok. And the chef says, you really need to come back and try some of this because it's maybe one of the best things on the whole menu. So I had to follow her advice.
I'm sure. And here we're looking at them making the wok items, including noodles, which you had, right?
Yeah. Well, the noodles kind of go with it. You can either have the beef or the vegetables. So it was really good. And as you can see, you have your normal buffet salads, so many different things. This is sort of like an omelet. I didn't expect to see an omelet for dinner.
Yeah, it is. It's an omelet station. I don't know if they have that for breakfast or not. Breakfast used to be included with the resorts, but now you would pay to have breakfast if you want to have it. We just went to Starbucks.
So this is more of your traditional Trail's End type of food. You saw some corn on the cob, and you have fish, and I think you're going to see some ribs. There's some chicken and some ham, and there's also ribs and really, really good baked potatoes.
What about the ribs? Were they good?
They were great. Listen, as you can see, everything was great. Well, as you remember, at least, I didn't complain.
Well, I enjoyed what I had, but with the amount of choices, I only had really a small amount of different items compared to what's here. But they even had like cheeses. You can't really go to a buffet in Paris, or at least at Disneyland Paris, and not see cheese. Really, any restaurant, you can't really not see cheese somewhere.
And this, I think, was the kids' station where you had your little wings and you had little hot dogs and the kids kind of stuff and some pasta. You even had some pasta there.
I definitely recommend if you are staying, especially if you're staying on property, but even if you're just there for the day, maybe making a reservation for the Chuck Wagon Cafe.
And I see some fruit on the plate there. That was our good friend Ronald, who is known for eating donuts.
Donuts, I know. I couldn't believe he got fruit. That was
It was shocking.
It was actually.
Yeah, and I'm just showing you a collection of my plates, and you could see I didn't go too crazy. I don't think, just little bits. There's the nice wok finished product there.
Well, that was a pretty full plate there. But that actually
finish
looked
all
good.
of
I
this.
didn't even try it at all.
Oh, donuts. We speak of the devil, and there is some more fruit. Oh, cheeses. We forgot about the cheeses. I think you did mention that, but I wanted to show the selection. Pretty standard. This is about the same type of cheese that we saw even at the other buffet that we went to.
Right. I mean, that's the one nice thing is if you like cheese, France is all about the cheese, whether you are at the buffet or any restaurant or the supermarket.
Now, did we mention dessert? I think not.
Well, the cheese was sort of dessert. Am I wrong? And
No,
the donuts.
the cheese is the before dessert.
These look a little messy, but you tried, I know, one of those desserts. But we ended up I just got one of I don't know if you call it a cornetto. It's a ice cream cone. That's what I got.
And I also had that, but we did have one little piece of this. And you're right, this stuff did look a little bit picked over. I didn't do the dessert video until the very end, so I should have done that earlier. But there they are. Those are the best ice creams ever. I would go for one right now.
I like that ice cream a lot. So anyway, that is the Chuck Wagon Cafe. If you're planning to go to Disneyland Paris, I recommend it. I thought it was a very nice experience, and I look forward to going there again next trip.
Oh, absolutely. Highly recommended. I'm just showing some details around the resort. And, we were there for a week, but we didn't really take full advantage of some of the things that the resort has to offer, like characters. Turns out every morning there is a character meet and greet in the lobby. So on the very last day, and this is a picture from right when we were about to leave, I walked over there and with my phone I shot a little video, and here it is. There is Goofy meeting and greeting, and he's just in his regular outfit, warming his hands and some other area by the fire there.
And because he's in a normal costume, I wasn't really in a rush to get in line to see him because we could go to the park normally and just go see him in he was probably in his 25th anniversary outfit. But we could see the different characters there too.
Right, and I totally agree with you. And in this case, it wasn't worth it. It was quite busy.
It was a
at
long
least this
line.
day. And I think I did go to the front area, or the day we checked in. They were having the meet and greet because we got in quite early, and it was a big long line for that too. So I didn't feel it was necessary since they were in their regular outfits.
And while we're looking at this, I wanted to mention also if you if you decide to stay at the Hotel Cheyenne. There also is no elevator. So you have 2 floors in each building and there's no elevator up. So request the bottom floor.
Yes, bottom floor is a must. Anyway, that is another show. That is our Western show. Next week, we'll be back to normal, and we're going to talk about Walt Disney World. A lot of Disney World, all Disney World next week.
So do you think we'll talk about Disney World?
Oh, stop.
So anyway, thanks to our sponsor, NYE Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. We really appreciate their sponsorship. And I am looking forward to next week. We only know what part of what we're going to do is so far. And then Axel will be here, and we're going to see him on the 13th. I believe.
That is correct.
And
yes.
then we'll see what we can find that day.
But we do have plenty of goodness already in the can. We had a nice dinner. You've been wanting to go to Ale and Compass. Not dinner, for breakfast. So we did that, and we checked out the Disney's Hollywood Studios, the new walkway there, the walkway between Hollywood Studios and Epcot.
And, I mean, there's going to be so much more as well. But plus, coming up on I'm going to do a not food and wine, Epcot International Festival of the Arts preview on the 16th. then it starts, and then they're going to have the Disney's Hollywood Studios is going to have their event starting the 18th, and then the Mickey Mouse Party is going to be, I don't even know the names of all these things at the moment because it's just on the top of my head. There's so much going on the 18th. I mean, that will be a show.
So there is lots of goodness to come in the next few weeks. Anyway, thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.